Hakeem Olufemi Gbajabiamila. God bless you all. And the need to use the national budget to prepare our country and our people for the challenges and opportunities of this new age.
National Assembly received budget for 2022 fiscal year, promising to subject it to intense scrutiny.
Those peaceful protests mean you destroying national infrastructure.
And lawmakers caution against lending support to protesters in the name of constitutionality. The yearly ritual of the national debate on the nation's expenditure profile has begun as the legislature received the 2022 budget estimates from the executive Thursday, 7th October 2021. The details in this package as we welcome you on board House Ticket, your window into the workings of the legislature, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Also on the program, lawmakers worry over the increasing damages to lives and properties in the southeast as they call for immediate arrest of the situation. All of this plus events from the committee rooms and the Speaker's office. Please join us again after this short break.
If we set our minds right, embrace each other in love and brotherhood, we will come through these troubling times. We will survive, we will recover, and then we will thrive. One nation under God, free, peaceful, and prosperous.
In our first segment on the program, we review the special plenary session held to receive the 2022 budget estimates laid by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Lawmakers laud the performance of previous budgets as they call for sustained momentum to consolidate on the gains. The report of the special plenary as compiled and presented from the studios.
The major event in the week in legislature was the joint sitting of the Senate and House of Representatives to receive the 2022 annual budget estimates from the presidency. This was on Thursday, the 7th of October, 2021. At exactly 12:05 hours, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Muhammadu Buhari, made an entry into the chamber. National anthem and pledge as well as prayers were offered to kickstart the events.
Before your throne of grace through the National Assembly.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, heads of security agencies and heads of ministries, departments and agencies, as well as other guests were present for the ceremony. Also present were the management of the National Assembly Service Commission and clerk of the National Assembly. And in keeping with the COVID-19 safety protocols of enclosure within a large gathering, the august ceremony was kept to the barest minimum time affordable, lasting almost an hour only. President Muhammadu Buhari began the budget presentation with appreciation and commendation on the synergy between the two arms of government, which led to developmental partnership for the good of the nation. Then he gave highlights reviewing the performance of the 2021 budget.
On the positive note, we surpassed the non-oil taxes target by 7% in aggregate. The sustained improvement in non-oil taxes indicates that some of our revenue reforms are yielding positive results. I am pleased to inform you that we expect to fund MDA's capital budget fully by the end of fiscal year 2021. Capital releases thus far have been prioritized in favor of critical ongoing infrastructural projects in the power, roads, rail, agriculture, health, and education sectors.
And the 2022 budget of 16.39 trillion naira tagged Budget of Economic Growth and Sustainability was presented before the joint session, being a first of its kind, where MDAs were clearly advised on gender-responsive budget. There is more.
Our strategies to improve revenue mobilization will be sustained in 2022 with the goal of achieving the following objectives. A. Enhance tax and excise revenue through policy reforms and tax administration measures. B. Review the policy effectiveness of tax waivers and concessions. The fiscal year 2022 is very crucial to our efforts to ensure that critical projects are completed, put to use, and improve the general conditions of our people.
Out of the 16.39 trillion naira budget estimates, capital expenditure is estimated at 5.35 trillion naira, including capital component of statutory transfers. Overhead stands at 792.39 billion naira. Personnel cost is estimated at 4.11 trillion naira. Statutory transfers 768.28 billion naira. Non-debt recurrent cost 6.83 trillion naira and debt service at 3.61 trillion naira. Other components are sinking fund of 292.71 billion naira to retire certain maturing bonds, and pensions, gratuities and retirees benefit is estimated at 577 billion naira. The theme and priorities of the 2022 Budget of Economic Growth and Sustainability is to address key areas of diversifying the economy with robust MSME growth, investing in critical infrastructure, strengthening security and ensuring good governance, enabling a vibrant, educated and healthy populace, reducing poverty, and minimizing regional economic and social disputes. Further, in the budget presentation of Mr. President, there was the total revenue estimates projected for 2022 at 17.70 trillion naira based on the following assumptions and parameters: conservative oil price benchmark of $57 per barrel, daily oil production estimate of 1.88 million barrels per day inclusive of condensates of 300 to 400,000, exchange rate of 410 naira 15 kobo per US dollar, and projected GDP growth rate of 4.2% and 13% inflation rate. On the nation's increasing debt profile and public outcry by Nigerians, Mr. President maintained that Nigeria is within its threshold of its debt borrowing. He alluded the debt rise to the two economic recessions entered into, in which a sustained expenditure through debt funding was achieved. There is a further plan, therefore, to borrow 5.01 trillion naira and 90.73 billion naira to further finance budget deficits. The President then laid the budget, accompanied by his special advisors to the National Assembly, Senate and House, and the clerk to the National Assembly. Earlier, during a welcome speech by the Senate President Ahmad Lawan, he commended Mr. President for the sustained timely budget presentation, which is in line with the reversal to the cycle to a January to December timeline. He reflected on the achievement of a full implementation of the 2020 budget, stating that it's been a first since the Fourth Republic and the need for sustained drive in that regard. He preached for continuous infrastructural development and boosting revenue generation.
The 2022 budget should target at completion and consolidation of the projects already started. Your Excellency, generating and collecting revenues have remained major challenges in our quest for development. The recent efforts by the National Assembly as well as the Executive to challenge the revenue generating agencies is a step in the right direction. Equally important is the recent position taken by the legislature and the executive arms of government to insist on zero allocation to MDS that failed to remit their revenues for the 2022 appropriation. This saw an increase in the contribution of MDS by over 400 billion. It is my view that MDS can contribute to the Federation account much more than that. This policy should be expanded and deepened to cover more MDS.
On security, Senate President Ahmad Lawan assured of the legislature's unwavering support through legislative tools to overcome the challenges.
Members and staff of the
Speaker
National
Femi
Assembly
Gbajabiamila's remark
extending
brought the
our
special
sincere
plenary
appreciation
session to an
Excellency.
end. He gave an assurance that exhaustive work will be done on the 2022 budget, just as he tasked MDAs on accountability and timeliness at budget defense. He spoke further on improved job creation among funding of critical sectors.
Today, innovations in technology, the changing nature of global trade, the challenges of cross-border insecurity, and the increasing interdependence of nations, each and together, continue to present challenges we must overcome and opportunities we must embrace. The House has passed several important resolutions relating to healthcare access, primary education, rural infrastructure deficits, and national security that require actual funding. Where these restrictions have not been included in the appropriation bill, the House will work with the Senate and the Executive to see that the final version of this appropriation bill includes necessary allocations to implement these resolutions and give full effect to the best wishes of the House.
Lawmakers reacted to the budget presentation by Mr. President, speaking to the performance of the 2021 and expectations of the 2022 fiscal year.
Mr. President should be called Mr. Infrastructure. He has assured us that all the rail lines, all the roads that are put in the budget will be completed before the end of his administration. And it is infrastructure that makes a country rich. Show me a country that doesn't have infrastructure, they are not rich. Show me many countries with infrastructure, they are very rich, their citizens are rich. So Mr. President is dedicating majority of this year's budget and next year's budget to completing his huge infrastructural projects.
For another issue that we are also happy with is the issue of gender. He has directed that all federal ministries and agencies have a gender component of all what they have to, present. So we expect to see a 2022 budget that is robust, that is geared towards completion of already ongoing projects, and also encouragement on NDS to perform better.
As the Chairman House Committee on Works, we are going to pay attention on some critical projects that will be commissioned before the end of the tenure of President Muhammadu Buhari. Those projects, as you know, is Lagos-Ibadan, Second Niger Bridge, Kano-Abuja Road, and Kano-Maiduguri projects. They are all important, from the north to the south, to the east to the west, and we'll make sure we fund a lot of money for those projects so that the President Buhari will commission those important critical projects before the end of his tenure.
Glad to have you still there. We took highlights of the special plenary session that took place on Thursday, 7th October 2021, where the Senate and House received the 2022 budget estimates of the nation presented by the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Muhammadu Buhari. Lawmakers on their part have expressed readiness and commitment to see an express yet diligent scrutiny of the budget in the coming 6 weeks towards a passage by the end of the year 2021. We'll still take more legislations during the week in review, taking a look at other legislations done on Tuesday, 5th and Wednesday, the 6th of October 2021.
1. That the aggregate expenditure
The House, prior
of
to the
16.39
2022 budget
trillion be
submission
approved.
by the Presidency, had approved and adopted the revised medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper, MTEF-FSP, for a period of 2022 to 2024. The following recommendations of the Committee on Finance, which worked on the fiscal document, were adopted by the House. Aggregate expenditure of 16.39 trillion naira, retained the executive revenue projection of 10.3 trillion naira, and fiscal deficit of 635.4 billion naira. The House also commended the Budget Office of the Federation and the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning for insisting that ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, submit their revenue profile as premise for being captured in the 2022 budget proposal. Away from monetary matters to other activities at plenary, Wednesday, 6th of October 2021 saw the passage of a bill at second reading titled A Bill for an Act to amend the Motor Vehicle Third-Party Insurance Act of 2004 to proffer stiffer penalties to conform with contemporary realities and for related matters.
A bill for an act to amend the Motor Vehicle Third-Party Insurance Act.
The bill has been referred to the Committee on Insurance and Actuarial Matters for more legislative inputs. Same day of Wednesday, there were motions brought to the floor of the House on insecurity. A motion sponsored by lawmaker Chris Azubogu, worried over the trend of killings and burning of private and public infrastructure in the southeast, with emphasis on Anambra State. The motion came up through matters of urgent public importance titled Urgent Need to Curb the Increasing Spate of Killings in Anambra State. Lawmakers called for a speedy action on the matter.
On Tuesday, the 28th September 2021, Dr. Shika Kunyele, the husband of the late DG Navda, and late Minister of Information, Professor Dora Kunyele, and 8 others were slaughtered at Mpo, suburb of a commercial city of Onitsha in Anambra State. The next day, another medical doctor, Dr. Ezenwa, was killed. Police station was attacked in Orumba North, and people were killed. I was further aware that on Thursday, 30th September 2021, my vehicle were attacked along the Newage road, leading to ultimate death of one of my drivers.
We all heard what happened to you in the last couple of days. The situation in Anambra is getting very critical, and I think your motion is very timely. Can you enlighten us as to what's going on there? What is the reason for this sudden?
Yes, sir.
Any idea? So that's how we know how to intervene.
We have a group who, of course, you know, have been agitating for the state of Biafra. And I think that with that also, we have some very strong criminal elements who have also joined within this group. The agitations, they say, initially was non-violent, and you can see that it was actually non-violent. But you have another group who have become very criminal in nature and very difficult to contain. And you see that anytime there's a killing, they come out to say, we are not involved. But now there is a mixture of both. The same thing happened in 2017. It was non-violent. But 2019, they're saying no more election. 2017, it was referendum. But now 2019, they're saying no election at all. So you see them targeting campaign vehicles and cars. With all our cars that have campaign materials, we removed all of them. No flag of PDP, no flag of APC, nobody. They're not sparing anybody. So you see, it's a mixture of the agitators of state of Biafra and strong criminal elements.
The motion prayed that the House urged the National Security Advisor and other security agencies to deploy all necessary machineries to Anambra State towards containing the challenge, and also mandate the Joint Committee on National Security and Intelligence and Police Affairs to ensure that normalcy is restored within the state and report back in 3 weeks. A second motion on illegal arrest, detention and brutalization of peaceful protesters was brought up by the minority leader of the House.
The police officers accosted them, and in the bit of that, most of them were badly beaten up and arrested. And the bad part of it is that since they were arrested, families have tried to even reach out to them, those that have been incarcerated, and it has been very difficult reaching them. Hence, this motion for the House Committee on Police Affairs to investigate.
The Deputy Speaker spoke against the motion.
Does peaceful protest mean you destroying national infrastructure? By burning tires on the road, it means then they are weakening the strength of the structure nationally, and it should not be tolerated. If you carry a placard peacefully, go to the right place, but obstructing people who are out to go and look for their genuine means of livelihood, and you say it is human right. I don't know what that kind of human right is. If you carry a placard, not to come and block people from the highway, come to the villa or come to National Assembly, where you have a square specially designated for that. Nobody will come to pursue you with either gun or gunpowder or whatever. I want to plead with my colleagues that we should not exacerbate the situation in the country. We should help the government to ensure what they are doing, we are able to bring security to the barest minimum in fractures.
There were more positions from lawmakers on the matter.
Our law is very clear. You cannot be detained more than 48 hours. And you are taken to court. They should say that the undue detention is what prompts this type of reaction. Because when you don't give them their rights of fair trial and fair hearing, they now begin to seek alternative means to react against government.
On the one hand, Honorable Lumelu has brought a motion to protect the citizens of Nigeria, and that's his responsibility and his job as a legislator. But on the other hand, the Deputy Speaker and others are saying that, yes, we agree with you, but the question is that, was this actually a peaceful protest? People doing this, doing that, burning, whatever, destroying infrastructure, whatever, considering the security situation. So both sides are right. Coming from the issue of NSAS, the police are going around killing people, shooting whatever at them, and we've seen police disperse crowds even in advanced democracies that we all. So you're allowed to disperse a crowd if you sense danger. It's happened in America. It's happened in Monaco. But the question is that we need to be very careful with our language.
The question for voting on the motion was put, and it got a negative response as the lawmakers rejected the motion.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Those in support, please say aye. Those in support, please go to this side. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The nays have it.
From the other paper, lawmaker Luke Onofiok sponsored a motion on the need to review the remuneration of judicial officers and increase the statutory transfer to the nation's judiciary.
It is unfair, unconscionable, unjust, and unrealistic that in the face of the several restrictions on the conduct of judicial officers, the judicial officers receive meager salary when compared with prevalent economic realities, thereby rendering them vulnerable to corruption. Also aware that the budget for the judiciary has remained at 110 billion since 2019, while the total budget size has continued to grow, leading to gross underfunding and neglect of the judiciary over the years, which have affected productivity, increased frustration, and deflated the morale of judicial officers and staff.
The resolution of the House mandated the Committee on Judiciary to work towards an amendment of the Certain Political, Public and Judicial Office Holder Salary and Allowances Act by removing the remunerations of judicial officers from that of political and public office holders, as well as ensure compliance. The House also urged the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission to immediately review the remuneration of judicial officers in line with present economic realities. Another resolution taken also urged the federal government to, in line with judicial autonomy, accede to the increase in statutory transfer to the judiciary in the coming fiscal year. The committee is to report back to the House within 6 weeks.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, say nay. Ayes have it.
We'll round up the program with recent activities from the Speaker's office. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has called on politicians and leaders alike to take matters of social protection of the Nigerian worker as a fundamental interest and an important step towards nation building. Speaker Gbajabiamila further noted that social protection is an important responsibility of government, and when that is provided, it enables a perfect union between leaders and followers, and in turn leaders can demand fidelity from their followers. The Speaker made these calls when he declared open the 2021 Roundtable on Social Protection cover organized by the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC). Speaking to the theme expanding social protection cover and ensuring effective implementation in Nigeria, he promised the commitment of the 9th House of Representatives to using legislative tools of authority to advance solutions and policies that will help achieve the promise of this more perfect union.
Many of us may not realize it, but there's a strong connection or correlation between lack of social protection, poverty, and crime. So when we gather, as we have done this morning, to think together, brainstorm together about the ways to improve social protection cover in our country, we are engaged in a fundamental act of nation building. We are making sure that there is a collective agreement on what it will take to achieve our best visions for Nigeria and the welfare of all nations' people, of our nation's people. I expect that having secured agreement on what needs to be done, we will then do what is required.
In another scene, this time around from grassroots participation, Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila, in recognition of his leadership excellence, legislative uniqueness, as well as effective participation in nation building, earned the first time ever title of the Are Basofin of Yoruba land. The title was conferred on him by the Oyo Mesi Council, which is headed by the Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Lamidi Olayiwola Adeyemi III. The message of conferment was delivered on behalf of Oba Adeyemi III by the Bashaorun of Oyo Kingdom, High Chief Yusuf Olayinka Ayola, who is also the Prime Minister of Oyo Kingdom. Accepting the honor on behalf of the House, Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila expressed pride and appreciation of the title, considering the source of it, just as he stressed the role of traditional leaders in shaping democracy.
I have accepted on behalf of the House and my colleagues.
This is the much we can take on this package, and here's hoping we've been able to educate you on the workings of the House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thanks for watching, and remember that you can follow House Ticket on our social media handles showing on your screen. Until then, bye-bye.